connecting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're okay. All right, here's number 9. This is a binomial times another binomial, so we are going to use FOIL. FOIL says F stands for first. We're going to take the first one here times the first one here. I'm going to write it out long ways. It's the square root of x times the square root of x. Then I'm going to take the outside. Got the 2 on the outside. This one's on the outside. This one's on the outside. I'm going to take the plus 5 times the square root of x. Gives me a positive 5 square roots of x. I stands for inside. That's these two. That's a negative 3 square root of x. And L stands for last. The last one is this one times this one. This is the last one. Negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. And now we're going to see what we can do about simplifying. What's the square root of x times the square root of another x? That is a pair of x's. You can circle them, take them out. That gives you an x outside. You got one pair comes outside, and there's nothing left inside. There's no x's inside, so all it is x. The square root of x times the square root of x is simply x. Then I have 5 square roots of x. I'm going to take 3 of them and lose them. That's going to leave me a positive 2 square roots of x's. I simply add the plus 5 and the negative 3 together to give me the plus 2. And last, I have a negative 15 at the end. And there I have no light terms. And therefore, I am done. That's all I can do. That's your problem. Just basic FOIL. And all you have you have to worry about is the square root of x times the square root of x is simply x here. For the rest of it, you just go ahead and do normal. Number 10. Notice, the square root equals a negative number. The square root can never, a square root of anything can never equal a negative. Never, never, never. Whenever you have a square root on one side, a negative on the other side, the answer is no solution. It cannot be done. A square root cannot be equal to a negative number. This problem is impossible to do because of the negative in front of the 4. Now I'm going to do another problem to be on the safe side. Here's a problem that does not have a negative. It has a positive in front of the 4, which we can do. And the way we do it is we want to get rid of the square root on the left side, so we square the left side and the right side. Whenever I square a square root, I am squaring and I have a square root. When I have a square root squared, they cancel each other out. Whatever's inside is left. So after I square the square root, I have 6 minus 2x left equals 4 squared is 16. And now I simply solve. Subtract 6 from both sides. They cancel. Negative 2x equals 16 minus 6 is 10. And I divide by negative 2. 2's and the negatives cancel. X equals negative 5. And that's my answer. Square both sides. When you square the square root sign, the square and the square root cancels, leaving whatever is left inside of the radical sign is what is left. 6 minus 2x in this. That's how you solve a problem. That is a positive. Again, if you have a negative here, it can't be done. Don't try. You can do the problem. The answer won't work. The answer will not check out. It gives you an answer that's incorrect. Just like saying, oh, I did my calculator. It said 3 times 5 is 50. It may have said it, but if it did, the calculator made a mistake. It can't be done that way. It's the wrong answer. Okay, let's go to 11. Here's the 11. The I stands for imaginary number. Now, I'm adding, so when I add these, all I have to do is get rid of the parentheses and add the numbers together, and the I stand for I, and we can do it. I have, the first parenthesis has a plus in front, which means the parentheses mean nothing. I simply write 2 minus 3y. I drop this parenthesis and this one. Because there's a plus in front, I just drop them and they go away. Nothing changes. On the second one, I have a negative in front. So the negative says change the sign. The easiest way to do this is make the negative a positive, change the 4, which is positive, into a negative, take the 5, which is positive, and make it a negative, so I end up with a negative 4 minus 5i. The plus here, once I make this one a plus, it just goes away. I don't need it. I only need the negative in front of the 4 and the negative in front of the 5. And now I combine like terms. What is 2 minus 4? Negative 2. What is a negative 3i and a negative 5i? Well, this negative here is the same as this one, so the signs are the same. So I add the 3 and the 5, get 8i, and keep the sign negative. There's my answer. I simply drop the parentheses, change the sign to inside the parentheses when they're negatives. The negative outside, this one here. And if it's a plus, I just drop the parentheses, don't change anything, and I add like terms together. Number 12. Same type of problem, except this time we're multiplying. And we simply use FOIL to do it. There is one change we'll talk about in a minute, but we're going to use FOIL. We're going to take the first one times the first one. 3 times 2 is 6. Outside times outside. That's a positive 3i. Inside times inside. 5 times 2 is a negative 10i. And last times last is a negative 5i squared. Now, before we do anything else, we don't want anything that has I squared or bigger. We can keep the i's, these, but we can't keep I squared or bigger. And what we need to realize is that I squared is always equal to a negative 1. I squared is always a negative 1. So I'm going to take this negative 5i squared, take the I squared out, and put a negative 1 in there. And a negative 1 times a negative 5 is a positive 5. And the rest of the problem hasn't changed. It's 6 plus 3i minus 10i plus 5. And now combine like terms. 6 and 5 is 11. And 3i minus 10i is a negative 7i. And we are done. I squared is always equal to a negative 1. Take the I squared out and replace it with a negative 1 and then multiply just like it says to. And we have our answer. Okay? We'll stop this one.